Well, good morning, everyone out there in TV land. I am Don Zavis, National Sales Trainer, Sales Coach, International Keynote Speaker, and I welcome you to today's Friday sales training session. And before we get started, I want to acknowledge the people that will likely be joining us. So if you're joining us on Facebook Live, thank you. We appreciate you being here. If you're joining us on YouTube Live, thank you again. We appreciate you being here. If you're joining us on Zoom, thank you again. And if you're ultimately joining us as a recycle of into our Vimeo archive videos, thank you very much again. We appreciate you being here. I say this at the beginning of every session, but I think it bears repeating again. It's not lost on me that there's a lot of things vying for your attention in today's world. I mean, there's a million things going on, and the contribution and commitment you're making to your sales education will come back to you many times over. And by the way, not a moment too soon. I am telling you, for those that are taking notes, write this down, big print, right? Giant font. In the next 24 months, sales and revenue and development has got to be your number one focus. Now, I preface that by saying whatever your industry is, don't lack on that. So if you're a CPA, don't be a good CPA. If you're a diet, don't be, if you're a good lawyer, don't, no. I'm not saying don't be good at that. Don't continue improve your education in that. I'm saying that most people, sales, business development, revenue enhancement is kind of the sidebar. It's like kind of the bastard stepchild that just kind of happens when it happens. And we like to start, and by the way, you'll notice that Mr. Wechter is not joining me. He is. Now, it was 2 weeks yesterday that he had his foot surgery. So he is limping around, but I saw him this morning, and he is feeling certainly much better. I would say that I hope that he enjoys us right away, or joins us right away, but if his doctor and his wife are involved and he listens to them, I probably wouldn't listen to mine. But if he listens to them, which he should, they're staying another 2 weeks off his feet. So it may be 3 more sessions and you'll see him here. But we are undaunted as we go on. So in the sales current events, again, I don't even know where to start. So, and I'm not making a political statement. I'm apolitical, although most people know how I tilt. But these statements are apolitical. That they just released that we had our second consecutive quarter of negative GDP. Now, you can put lipstick on this pig anywhere you want. But the reality is that by every economic indicator ever known by anybody ever in the history of economics, that shows us in a recession. Now, that's not any reason to be excited or worried. There's a lot of people hear recession. All that basically says is that the economy was moving backwards, not moving forward. It was just moving backwards. That doesn't mean run for the hills. That doesn't mean, stockpile food, dig a hole in the ground, nothing like that. All it means is that when you're in sales now, we're going to be affected uniquely differently than most other industries. So if you're a mid-level administrator at a business, there's a very good chance that your world is not going to change. Your paycheck's going to stay the same, everything, your vacation, everything's going to stay the same. However, in sales, we eat what we kill. So if you're not making sales, you're going to feel it. Now, along with this tsunami of bad news, that the Feds also raised the interest rates. Almost a full point, 3/4 of a point. Now, that's a lot. So when you're looking at $1 million house, you're talking about thousands of dollars a month difference. That's a significant amount of money. And what happens is it has a deleterious effect on the entire industry. So not only will real estate agents suffer, mortgage people will suffer. Home goods will suffer. Home Depot will, Lowe's will suffer. People who sell furniture will, the carpeting, the people that do pest control and landscaping and all the types of things that kind of jump on board in a robust housing market. People, buy a new house and they paint it, and they buy new furniture and they change, upgrade the landscaping and fix this and do this, and all the things that would normally kind of move this process forward, unfortunately will not. Those are not going to be happening. So that's really a challenge for us as we move forward, is how to do this, and certainly how to do this safely. So something I said during the COVID time, and I will say again, you may have to work twice as hard and invest twice as much to stay where you were before. Now, we originally were saying that in COVID, and the example that I used is that if you were investing $1,000 a month in advertising, you may have to invest now $2,000 a month in advertising to get you the same results that you got previously. The worst thing that you could do, however, is go backwards. You cut down on your advertising, therefore less people know about you, therefore you make less sales. But because you have less money, you cut back on your advertising even further, therefore now even less people know about you, and you get this downward spiraling doom loop. So it's going to be a challenging time, and for those that are watching, I will tell you, utilize our resources. Make sure that your coaching is done. Make sure, if you're not a client of ours, this is a very opportune time to have a conversation with us. Because again, this is not something you're going to be able to not participate in. It's going to hit every single level of every single level. That's why we've changed our curriculum. And although attitude, behavior, and techniques is always a scenario, what I've done is I've moved all of the, what I'm calling immediate application training sessions to really happen now. Because again, the last thing in the world I want to do is talk about something that you can't implement for 6 months or a year. So all of our training sessions as of late and moving forward for at least the foreseeable future will all be what we call immediate impact. These are things that once, literally today, once you get finished watching, looking at the video, whatever, you can implement immediately. These are not things that you need a lot of moving parts, a lot of things. No. These are things that you can implement immediately. Today's session is called Power of the Present. Power of the Present. So when I make a statement like that, power of the present, now to me it makes nothing but sense. Because I believe, as I believe most people believe, I know my grandparents did. I remember my grandfather saying, worry about today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Right? A penny saved is a penny earned. Because all too many times, we have this ideology that there's always a tomorrow, there's always a tomorrow, there's always a tomorrow. We can kick this can down the road far enough where it's not going to affect us. And that's not necessarily the case. What we find is that it's actually the opposite. Our ability to solve problems is predicated on our actions today. For example, given a choice of starting a retirement saving at 30 or at 60, what would be better? Well, of course, at 30. You'd have the benefit of 30 years of putting money in and 30 years accumulation. If you do it at 60, you're only going to have a couple of years and likely going to have a very, very small nest egg to deal with. And if you look throughout history, that idea of the power of the present, that today is really the magic, what happens today. Again, we can't change the past. There's no guarantee of it tomorrow. The only influence we have on today. And it went so far, and anybody remembers there was a movie with Robin Williams. And one of the key phrases in the movie that kind of came into the lexicon of the world it was a Latin phrase, carpe diem. And the phrase carpe diem essentially translated means seize the day. Take advantage of today because, again, I can't change the past. There's no guarantee of it tomorrow. My only influence that I have literally is on today. Hold on one second. Let me shut this off so I realized this thing was on. So let me do this. So that's ultimately what I want you to be able to focus on. So today's session is power of the present. For those that are writing notes, I want you to write that down. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Today is the most important. This moment is the most important moment of your life, and yet often we squander it. Often we think that there's nothing but time. And I tell people, because I hear this a lot, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy. I'm not making any money. I'm not doing anything fun.